I was 11 years old. Not quite a teenager yet, but also not a child anymore. I was upstairs in my bedroom getting ready for school when I heard my father and my stepmother arguing about me in their bedroom downstairs. I always eavesdropped through the vent on the floor. I heard Peggy say, "I can't stand your son, Alan. He's always in the way. He's a little monster that can't stay out of trouble, whether it's at school or here at home. I don't want him here anymore." But Peggy, I heard my dad respond. And that was all he said in my defense as she continued to bash me for doing what all kids do. Being a child, I was in trouble for being a child. I couldn't believe it. Peggy's voice broke my thoughts. "I didn't want him when you brought him here, and I don't want him here now." Finally, my dad spoke up. "We can't send him back to his mother. You know she's on God knows what? My son deserves better." "Well," Peggy paused, "it's either me or him. You choose." "I have to go to work," my dad chimed in. "Call your brother or someone to go with you to Detroit. It's dangerous there. I don't want you going alone. Bye." Then I heard his footsteps as he walked through the house. I heard the front door open and close, and then a moment later his car started and he drove away. I got up off the floor and went to the window and watched as he sped away from his problems once again. He wasn't going to work. He was probably going to a bar to piss this morning away and drown the thought of me in suds. What about me? He was so worried about his girlfriend going to Detroit because it was too dangerous. But what about me? That's when I heard Peggy coming up the stairs. She entered my room and quickly began packing my stuff into plastic trash bags. "You're going back to Mommy Dearest, you little turd. You wore out your welcome here." "But Peggy," I whined. "What did I do? What didn't you do?" She snapped, "I'm tired of you. I don't want you here. But..." And that's all I got out of my mouth before she was already down the stairs once again to retrieve more trash bags for my belongings. Fast forward a few hours. Peggy was driving her truck and her brother was in the passenger seat, and I was cramped in the little tiny seat in the back with all the trash bags full of my stuff. Soon enough, I began to see the infrastructure change into the city from the farmlands we just traveled out of. I began to see what was not familiar to me at all because my mother had moved since I last saw her. I didn't know where we were. All I knew was it was Detroit for sure. Suddenly we came to a stop and I heard Peggy say, "That's the house." And she pointed out the window to the second story of the building. "Sharon lives in the flat upstairs. I'll go knock on the door while you get his crap out of my truck." Peggy stepped out of the truck and walked up the front walk of the two-story flat to the door on the left side of the porch and began banging on it. Her brother began to remove my trash bags full of stuff from the truck and placed them on the curb by the street. My mother came to the front window and said, "Who the hell is banging on my door?" That's when Peggy chimed in. "I brought you your son. We don't want him anymore." "I don't want him either," my mother yelled back. "Why'd you bring him here?" "Because," Peggy blurted out, "he can't stay out of trouble and I don't want him in my hair anymore. He's your son, take him back." "No!" my mother yelled as she slammed the window shut. Peggy kicked the door, then turned around. Ken walked off the porch and down the walkway to her truck, never once looking at me. Why didn't anybody want me? Why didn't anyone love me? What did I do wrong? Moments like that are probably why I struggle with social anxieties today. I got up to follow her, but she and her brother were already speeding away. I just sat there on the curb with the trash bags full of my life sitting beside me. I sat that way for about 2 hours until finally a car pulled up in front of me. It had a Michigan emblem on the car door. It was a car driven by a state social worker. They believed they were saving me. In reality, the system was much worse than anything I'd encountered up to that point in my life. I was already broken. Now the system would mold me into a true monster that nobody expected to ever encounter. Me being a monster is not my fault. At least I don't think so. That's for you to decide.